A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, a vast sea of stars serves as the backdrop to the main titles, followed by a roll-up crawling into infinity. Star Wars Episode 1, Shroud of the Dark Side. The galaxy is on the brink of war. Countless star systems have already joined the ruthless separatists who seek to destroy the Galactic Republic. In need of heroes, Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi travels to the desert planet of Tatooine in search of an old friend. With luck, they may be able to turn the tide. Meanwhile, others have answered the call for aid. Now en route to her homeworld of Naboo, Queen Amidala and her crew are intercepted by a mysterious ship. Pan down to a Naboo royal starship as it swooshes through a sea of stars in the middle of space, making a homeward journey from some faraway place. Cockpit, Naboo royal starship. Inside the ship, Queen Padme Amidala stands behind her pilot, Ric Olay. "There she is, Your Grace. Home sweet home," says Ric Olay. Padme looks out the window of the cockpit and looks at the lush green and blue world growing ever closer. "Excellent, Captain. Take us home," she says. Padme turns to leave the cockpit. There is a loud swoosh coming from outside the ship. Ric Olay looks with concern, his face filled with utter shock. "What the?" he says. Padme turns around and rushes up to Ric Olay. She leans over the top of his seat. "What is it?" She looks out the front of the ship with a face filled with complete shock and fear. "Oh no." Space. A mysterious ship towers over the small royal vessel, sucking the little ship closer toward it. Cockpit, Naboo royal starship. Padme looks at Ric Olay frantically as the predicament makes things more and more tense. "Get us out of here," Padme says. "I can't, Your Grace. They've got us in a tractor beam. They're pulling us in," Ric Olay says. Just then, Captain Panaka rushes into the cockpit. "What's going on? Why are we off course?" Padme says, "Captain, notify the guards. We're about to be boarded." Panaka takes one glance and spots the towering ship through the cockpit window. Padme quickly leaves the cockpit and enters into a hallway of the ship with Panaka not that far behind. Space. The Naboo royal starship moves closer and closer to the large black ship and makes its way to the entrance of one of the hangar bays. Entrance hall, Naboo royal starship. Gungan guards, Panaka, Padme, and her handmaidens all stand with weapons ready for an attack as they stand behind barriers on the ship, allowing them some form of cover. The protocol droid C-3PO stands behind the barriers as well. "Oh no, we're going to die in here." "No one's going to die, 3PO, Padme says. There's a loud sound and sparks fly coming from the entrance of the ship, and soon it is broken into as separatist soldiers rush in. A shootout begins between the opposing forces in violent fashion. One of the Gungan guards, Jar Jar Binks, fires his blaster at the separatist soldiers, but continuously misses each shot. One of the other Gungan guards looks over at Jar Jar, who is nervously fighting. "Don't worry, Jar Jar. You protect the Queen." Jar Jar nods and fires, but can't seem to hit anything. He becomes frustrated and then throws down his weapon and flees in fear. The Gungan guard's eyes follow Jar Jar as he runs away. "Jar Jar, you come back here." He turns back around and returns to firing, but is soon shot down himself. Several Gungans die along with some separatist soldiers. Padme stands behind a barrier as she watches several of her guards fall. It is too much for her. She looks down in pain, knowing that they have lost. "Stop!" C-3PO holds his mechanical arms up as high as he can and looks at his attackers. "I surrender," 3PO says. Padme looks at C-3PO and then drops her blaster and the firing stops. She comes out from behind the barrier and shows herself to the separatist soldiers, her hands high in the air. Her allies watch as well, panting, tired, and beaten. "That's right. We surrender," Padme says. The separatist soldiers lower their weapons and look at each other and then immediately walk towards her to arrest her. Hangar, mysterious ship. The remainder of those aboard the Naboo royal starship exit the ship and enter the hangar of the mysterious ship bound in handcuffs. C-3PO is dragged out forcibly by the separatists. "Please, please, not so rough. I'm a protocol droid," 3PO says. Padme is roughly taken before a group of creatures dressed in fine robes. One of the creatures looks at her with a smile on his face. This is Viceroy Newt Gunray. Newt Gunray, I should have known your slimy hands were in on this. You wound me, Your Grace. I'm only doing as I'm told, Newt Gunray says, working for the Separatists. Take them away, but watch out for this one, Newt Gunray says to the guards. The soldiers grab hold of Padme, Panaka, Rick Olay, the Gungans, and handmaidens and walk off. C-3PO looks around as he too is dragged away by the soldiers. Take us away? Where to? It's all right, 3PO, Padme says. Newt turns to several other Separatist soldiers. Search the ship. Make sure there are no stragglers, Newt Gunray says. Hallway, Naboo Royal Starship. A group of Separatist soldiers enter the Royal Starship and slowly walk through the ship, inspecting every nook and cranny of it. They walk through the hall as we pan down to see the cowardly Jar Jar lying in a space under the floor of the ship in hiding. He sits there, holding his breath as footsteps come closer and closer until they are right on top of him. Nothing. Let's get out of here, Separatist Soldier number 1 says. They walk away and exit the ship. Jar Jar finally gets a chance to breathe for a moment. He looks scared, worried, and disappointed in himself. He gets up from under the floor and looks around to make sure he is all alone. He is, and slowly makes his way into the hall and walks down it. Queen's Quarters, Naboo Royal Starship. Jar Jar enters the Queen's quarters on the starship. He looks around and sits down in front of a recording station. He turns it on as if he really doesn't know what he's doing. He knows he's a coward, but now more than ever is the time to be brave. He takes a long breath and turns on the recorder to begin his message. Misa named Jar Jar Binks of Her Majesty's service. The Queen has been captured by the Separatists. Tatooine orbit, space. A Republic transport flies high above the sandy planet of Tatooine, down below as it flies closer to it. Republic transport. A Jedi Knight stares out the window of the Republic transport. Down below sits the planet of Tatooine. The captain walks up to the Jedi, who stands still and hooded. We should be making landfall in a few minutes, Master Jedi. Good. We're right on schedule. Forgive me for asking, but what could possibly be so important for a Jedi on Tatooine? The Jedi turns to the captain. There's an old friend down there I haven't seen for a long, long time. Tatooine orbit, space. The Republic transport begins to make a descent down to the surface as the planet grows larger and larger. Lars Homestead, Tatooine, day. Out in the middle of nowhere, a lone homestead sits within the Great Chott Salt Flat, a moisture farm. Baru Lars walks out of the igloo entrance and towards a land speeder that is being worked on by 2 men, Owen Lars and Anakin Skywalker, who is underneath the land speeder working on it. At their assistance is also an astromech droid, R2-D2. Hey R2, can you fetch me a screwdriver? Anakin asks. R2-D2 beeps in reply. With one of his small droid arms, he grabs a screwdriver and hands it to Anakin. Baru hands her husband a glass of blue milk. Still working on that old thing? Baru asks. Once we get this fixed, I can go into town and maybe hire some hands for this year's harvest, Owen says. Baru looks down at Anakin, who is busy underneath the land speeder. Anakin, don't you want to stop for at least a minute to rest? I will once I get this working, Anakin says. He's stubborn, just like his mother, but he knows how to fix things, Owen says. Baru smiles at Owen and then turns her head to look out toward the waste, but instead looks up and notices something in the sky. What's that? Baru asks. Owen looks up as well and walks closer to his wife to see. The same Republic transport flies down from the sky and lands on the Lars homestead property. The Jedi Knight walks out of the ship and makes his way towards them with his hood still concealing his face. Never thought I'd see one of his kind around here again, Owen says. Who is it? Baru asks. A Jedi Knight. Owen turns to Anakin. Anakin, take a break. We have company. Anakin is still under the speeder, not paying attention when he fixes something in the speeder and it brings it to life. Anakin smiles and rises up and turns the thing off. He smiles and rushes over to his stepbrother. "What did you need, Owen?" Owen nods in the direction of the coming Jedi Knight. Anakin gives a look that says, "Oh," as if he is disappointed by the reveal. "Let me deal with this," Anakin says. Anakin moves forward and passes by Owen and Beru. He walks out to the Jedi to meet him face to face. "I can't say I was expecting to see a Jedi around here again." "You usually don't. The Republic doesn't exist out here." "Then what are you doing here?" "I came to see an old friend by the name of Anakin Skywalker. This was once his home." "It still is. Who are you?" At that moment, the hooded Jedi Knight lifts his hood off his head to reveal Obi-Wan Kenobi. Anakin can't help but smile at the surprising reveal and runs up to his friend and gives him a big hug. "Obi-Wan," Anakin says excitedly. "Good to see you again, old friend." "It's good to see you too. It's been a long time," Anakin says. 10 years. You've grown a lot since then." "So have you." Anakin refers to the first strands of gray hair in Obi-Wan's hair. "I'm sure coming to see me isn't the only reason you came, is it?" Anakin asks. Obi-Wan sighs and looks at his friend with the truth written all over his face. "No, I'm afraid not. If you're here to ask me to come with you, I'm sorry, but the answer is no. I thought just as much." Obi-Wan looks over at Owen and Beru and watches them as they look at him with suspicion. "Is there somewhere we can speak privately?" asks Obi-Wan. Garage, Lars Homestead, day. Obi-Wan watches Anakin from afar inside the garage of the Lars Homestead. R2, Anakin's faithful companion, stands by his master's side. Anakin occupies himself by rummaging through different mechanical pieces and trying to fit them together. "Anakin, we need you more than ever now." "You don't need me. Besides, I left that world behind a long time ago." "I know. I was there." Anakin turns around and stares at his old friend with a curious and annoyed look. "What are you doing here, Obi-Wan?" Obi-Wan sighs. "The Republic is on the brink of war. The Separatist faction wants to tear apart what has stood for 1,000 generations. The Chancellor is desperate for allies, and we need all the help we can get. And you think I could help stop it?" "We don't need you to stop it. We need you to help. And you're the best fighter we have and the best pilot." "Not anymore. I'm just a moisture farmer from Tatooine. It's peaceful out here. There's no war, no heartache. You said it yourself. The Republic doesn't exist out here." Anakin places a firm hand on his friend R2 and looks down at his dome head. "I've had enough of war. The last one cost the life of my apprentice. How can I return after having that on my conscience for 10 years? Obi-Wan walks over to his friend and places a gentle hand on his shoulder and smiles. "I understand your fear. I have lost plenty in wars as well, but I have a duty, as do you. I'm not going to force you to return, but the Republic is in dire need of help. It needs a hero." "I can't go back on my word, Obi-Wan. I renounced my vows. The Jedi Code forbids me from returning." "I'm certain the Council would be willing to accept you back if you give them a chance. We need more knights." "Nothing you do or say will make me change my mind. Tatooine is where I grew up, and Tatooine is where I'll stay. Perhaps you've forgotten that it was you who took me away from here when I was just a boy. If I remember correctly, you wanted to leave." Obi-Wan sighs, knowing he can't win this fight, and pulls something out of his robes, a lightsaber. He presents it before Anakin. "I hoped I could have given you this." Anakin shuns it and pushes it away. "Keep it. It's not mine anymore." "Very well," Obi-Wan says disappointedly. Obi-Wan puts the lightsaber back under his robes and turns around to leave the garage. He turns back around one last time to look at his old friend. "We could really use the Chosen One right about now." "That's not me. Not anymore. The Force will do what it's always done. It will balance itself out until the scales are tipped one way or the other. You don't need a Chosen One to do that. It's impossible." Obi-Wan looks as if he's going to say something, but instead he turns and walks away. R2 whines after him. Lars Homestead, Tatooine, day. Anakin walks outside of the homestead through the igloo entrance and turns to find Obi-Wan kneeling down to R2, speaking with him near a large starfighter that is covered by a tarp. Obi-Wan looks in Anakin's direction, stands up, and motions toward the starfighter. "I see you still have your old starfighter." Anakin walks over and places a gentle hand on the tarp and smiles. "She was the fastest in the galaxy at one point. Does it still run?" "I don't know. She hasn't flown in years." "Anakin, are you sure there's no way I can sway you?" "No. My life is here now, and I feel happier and at peace." "I understand. Well, if you're happy, who am I to change your mind?" Obi-Wan steps back and turns to look at the Republic transport he arrived in. Then he turns back to Anakin and pulls something out of his pocket. "Here, take this." Obi-Wan places a small object in Anakin's hand. Anakin opens up the hand to look at it. "What is this?" "A tracking beacon. In case you change your mind, you'll be able to find me anywhere in the galaxy." "Obi-Wan, I don't need this." "I know. Just keep it, though, and I'll keep mine." Obi-Wan reveals another tracking beacon of his own. He extends a hand out to shake Anakin's. Anakin accepts it. "Till we meet again. Goodbye, Obi-Wan." Obi-Wan smiles and turns around to return to his ship. Anakin watches his friend re-enter the Republic transport. R2 whines. "Entrance, Republic transport." Obi-Wan enters the ship and is greeted by the ship's captain. "Any luck, Master Jedi?" the captain asks. "No, I'm afraid." "I'll prepare the ship for takeoff then. Also, we intercepted a call. Urgent message from a Naboo cruiser, Royal class. I'll listen to it in my quarters." "Very well," the captain says. Obi-Wan and the captain go to their respective stations. Lars homestead, Tatooine. Anakin and R2 watch as the ship flies away and out of sight. He turns around to make his way back to the entrance of the homestead where Owen stands there looking at his stepbrother. "What happened?" "He wanted me to go with him, but I refused." Anakin walks past Owen with R2 by his side and enters into the homestead. Owen, standing there alone, watches as the Republic transport disappears entirely. Obi-Wan's quarters, Republic transport. Obi-Wan sits down in his darkly lit quarters in front of a hologram projector and turns it on. Suddenly, a blue hologram ignites from the projector and a scared Gungan reveals himself. "Misa named Jar Jar Binks of Her Majesty's service. The Queen has been captured by the Separatists. If anyone is out there that receives this message, save us. Save the Queen. Misa sending coordinates along with this message. Please hurry," says Jar Jar. The Gungan turns off the recording after looking off as if he hears something. The recording ends and Obi-Wan sits there in contemplation, scratching his beard, wondering what he should do next. Cockpit, Republic transport. Obi-Wan stands in the cockpit with the pilots and the captain. "We need to investigate this claim. If the Queen of Naboo is in danger, we need to help her," Obi-Wan says. "I'm happy your heart's in the right place, Master Jedi, but we're not equipped for a rescue mission. We're a transport ship." "Then send me at least. I'll see what's going on here. We're not even certain the Separatist ship will still be there. We have to try." "Very well. Set a course for the location the Gungan gave us." The pilots do as their captain bids. The captain turns to Obi-Wan. "I hope this is the right move," the captain says. "It is." Then Obi-Wan says to himself, "I hope." Space. The Republic transport zaps through space and goes into lightspeed. It disappears entirely, leaving only a sea of stars. Hyperspace. The Republic transport speeds through hyperspace with a swirling array of lights surrounding the entire ship, moving forward into the unknown. Space. The Republic transport zaps through hyperspace and is quickly caught in the looming shadow of a massive and mysterious ship as black as night. Cockpit, Republic transport. The captain and pilots look out at the massive, mysterious ship in complete shock and awe at the size of it. "I've never seen a ship of that size before," says the captain. "We're going to have to get inside that thing," Obi-Wan says. "Over there. Looks like a hangar we can use." Republic pilot number 1 points. "I'm not going in there. I can get you inside that hangar, but no farther," the captain says. I don't expect you to. You've gotten me this far, Captain. That's good enough. Obi-Wan looks out to the ship. I don't expect there's another way of getting on that thing, Obi-Wan asks. Not unless we knew where a maintenance entrance was, Republic Pilot Number 1 says. Which we have little time for, the captain replies. What do you suggest we do, Captain? The captain sighs. I can send you in our escape pod, but once you're inside, you're on your own. Who knows what the Separatists have in there? I guess I'll find out. Keep your ship close by. I might need you before this is all over. Republic Transport, Space. A small escape pod releases from the Republic Transport and floats in the direction of the mysterious ship. Escape pod, Space. Obi-Wan lays in the escape pod as he makes his way to the ship. Good luck, Master Kenobi. We'll be waiting for you, the captain says. Obi-Wan lays in the cramped space and takes a nervous gulp. He grabs his lightsaber with sweaty palms. I've got a bad feeling about this. Hangar, mysterious ship. The escape pod drops down into the large hangar where Separatist soldiers stand by looking at the pod. They walk over to the pod and look down at it when suddenly a lightsaber ignites and burns through one of the soldiers. Everyone backs away. A moment later, Obi-Wan breaks through the pod. We've got an intruder on board. Kill the Jedi, Separatist Soldier Number 1 says. Now, I don't think you want to do that. Soldiers come by from all directions. Obi-Wan blocks their blasts by knocking their fire back to them. Obi-Wan makes quick work of the soldiers in the hangar and looks around to make sure no one else is there ready to attack. He turns off his lightsaber and walks over the pile of bodies. So sorry, Obi-Wan says. As Obi-Wan walks toward the exit to the hangar, Jar Jar Binks pops his head out from the entrance ramp of the Naboo Royal Starship. Boy, oh boy, Yusa sure made quick work of those guys. Obi-Wan turns around and gets his lightsaber at the ready for another attack, but then he sees the Gungan. Jar Jar walks out of the parked Naboo Royal Starship. You're the one that sent the distress call. Yes. Misa been hiding in there for ages, hoping somebody might come to help us. Then, just when Misa was about to give up hope, Yusa show up. How is it they haven't found you yet? Oh, Misa was, hiding. Misa afraid Misa's a bit of a coward. Galaxy is full of cowards, but not many are willing to risk their life to send out a message for help. Thank you, Yusa. That means so much. Obi-Wan Kenobi. He extends a hand to Jar Jar. Jar Jar takes it. Jar Jar Binks. Yusa a Jedi? Good thing you came when Yusa did. Yes, but now we need to hurry. No doubt they'll be informed about this mess soon. Do you know where they've taken the Queen? No. Not really, no. Then I guess we'll have to do things the old-fashioned way. Get a blaster and follow me. Where are we going? Not sure. Obi-Wan and Jar Jar exit the hangar together. Control room, mysterious ship. A room full of Nemoidians at the control panels. Newt Gunray walks up to a mysterious figure who is out of view, sitting in a high chair. My lord, I've just been informed all our men in the level 2 hangar bay are all dead. Someone has infiltrated our ship. Yes, I sensed their presence once they came on board. It's Kenobi, says the mysterious figure. The Jedi? Yes, but how did he get on the ship? My men found an escape pod from a Republic ship, and our radar has picked up a Republic transport just outside our range. Nothing's outside our range. Send men to deal with the Jedi and destroy that transport. Yes, my lord, of course. Newt Gunray bows to the mysterious figure and turns around to walk towards the controls of the ship. Hallways, mysterious ship. Obi-Wan and Jar Jar find their way in one of the many hallways within the ship and slowly make their way in. Obi-Wan stands back against the wall and looks around the corner to look at another hallway to see if the coast is clear. Nothing from this direction. With a ship this big, you'd think there'd be more guards around. At that very moment, a Separatist soldier stands right behind them with a blaster pointed at Jar Jar and Obi-Wan's backs. Freeze, Jedi! Obi-Wan puts up his hands and slowly turns around. The Separatist turns his blaster toward Jar Jar, who looks at him frightened. Put down the blaster, Gungan scum. Jar Jar turns to Obi-Wan, scared of what to do next. Don't worry about doing that, Jar Ar. Put down your blaster now, or I'll fire a shot through your Gungan skull. Obi-Wan puts his hands down, and with a wave of his hand, he says, "You will take us where they're keeping the Queen." The Separatist soldier is taken aback by this statement, and looks at Obi-Wan with a strange look. "I'll take you to where they're keeping the Queen. We're friends, not enemies." "You guys are my best friends," the Separatist soldier says. "Lead the way." "Follow me." The Separatist soldier leads the way in the maze of hallways. Jar Jar looks really confused. Jedi mind trick, very effective on the weak-minded. Misa see. They walk after the soldier down the hall. Control room, mysterious ship. Newt Gunray walks up to a gunner in the control room who is overseeing the weapon charge. The levels of the weapon charge rise on the display screen until everything glows green and ready to fire. Turret, mysterious ship. A massive turret on the ship charges up and turns in the direction of the Republic transport, ready to fire. Control room, mysterious ship. "Weapon is charged and ready, sir," says the gunner. "Fire." Cockpit, Republic transport. The captain of the Republic transport stands with the pilots at their stations. Republic pilot number 2 looks up and sees the massive online turret looking right at them. Sir, we have an active turret online looking directly at us." The captain looks out at the turret. "Get the ship out of firing range, now!" As they watch, the turret lights up as if ready to fire. Turret, mysterious ship. The turret shoots out a blast of energy that fires on the Republic transport, causing it to explode, leaving nothing but broken parts floating through space. Hallway number 2, mysterious ship. Obi-Wan, Jar Jar, and the Separatist soldier are running down the halls of the ship. Obi-Wan feels a disturbance and the cries of men in agony. He leans over to catch his breath when Jar Jar goes over to help. "I'm fine, but I'm afraid it's going to be harder to get off this ship than I originally thought." Obi-Wan stands upright and looks at Jar Jar. "Let's just find the Queen and get out of here." Obi-Wan walks off after the soldier and Jar Jar right after him. "Don't worry, not much farther," says the Separatist soldier. Prison Bay, mysterious ship. The Separatist soldier with Obi-Wan and Jar Jar opens the door to the prison bay. "Hey guys, these are my new best friends." They are met with several prison guards wearing blank stares. The jailer steps forward. The prison guards and jailer pull out their weapons and begin firing. One shot even hitting the helpful soldier that got them there. Alright, time for plan B. Obi-Wan pulls out his lightsaber and begins to deflect the laser blasts around the room. Jar Jar, meanwhile, shoots at the guards and actually manages to hit a few this time. Obi-Wan deflects some more blasts, making clean work of all their enemies. The jailer fires at Obi-Wan, who deflects the blast before reaching the jailer and slicing the barrel of the blaster. The jailer falls to his chair, cowering in fear as Obi-Wan threatens him with a lightsaber. "I think you're holding some friends of mine." "Last cell on the right," the jailer says, frightened. Obi-Wan smiles with success. "Watch this one, Jar Jar, and make sure he doesn't go anywhere." Obi-Wan walks off as Jar Jar holds his blaster threateningly at the jailer. Making his way to the back of the prison cell area, Obi-Wan makes it to the last cell on the right side. He goes to open the door when a dozen Separatist soldiers stand in the tiny cell, prepared for Obi-Wan. They fire at him. Obi-Wan tries his best to deflect their fire, but he is soon overtaken. Obi-Wan drops his lightsaber and it falls to the ground and is picked up by someone. It is the jailer. "I'm afraid you won't be leaving anytime soon, Master Jedi," the jailer says. Obi-Wan watches as soldiers come up through the hall with Jar Jar, who wears a defeated look. A trap, and they've fallen right into it. "Put these two in separate cells and inform the Viceroy we got the intruder." Just like that, with a defeated look, Obi-Wan is taken away by the Separatists. Lars Homestead, Tatooine, evening. The Lars homestead is bathed in the orange glow of the evening suns as the lights to the home turn on. Anakin's bedroom, Lars homestead. Anakin opens up a large wooden box from under his bed. Inside the box are neatly pressed but worn Jedi robes. He looks at them as if the memories come back to him all at once. Suddenly he remembers it all, the cries and pleas for help of someone he could not save. R2 watches Anakin reminisce over his days as a Jedi and beeps quizzically. I don't know what I'm gonna do, R2. R2, perhaps frustrated with his master, beeps loudly at him. No, I promised myself I would never be a Jedi again. I can't go back on my word. Anakin takes one more glance at the robes and then closes the wooden box. That's not what you were saying when you left Tatooine the first time. Anakin turns to see his stepbrother, Owen, standing in the doorway. I was only a kid then. I didn't know what it was like in the real world, but now I know. I've seen war and I've suffered because of it and because of me. Owen walks over and sits beside his brother's bed right beside him. You felt the same way after Mom died. You thought your life was over, and then one day, who should show up but a Jedi Knight to whisk you away from all this? You have a tender heart, Anakin, and you see that as a weakness, but that's what makes you strong. Jedi are supposed to remove themselves from love and grief, Anakin says, but you're not just a Jedi. You're a man first. Owen situates himself in order to get more comfortable. You know, when you left the first time, I didn't want you to leave. I thought, what business does he have leaving us to train as a Jedi? His place is here with his family. I thought that for years, but then you came back, and for the past 10 years I've watched you and noticed it in your eyes. Noticed what? Anakin asks. There's nothing left for you here but sand and pain. What should I do then? If it was me, I'd stay here and not get involved with the galaxy's wars. I'm just a moisture farmer, nothing more. But I know that's not you, Anakin. You're a Jedi. You have a duty to serve and protect the downtrodden and keep the peace. If you go, you'll be fighting their wars forever. The life of a Jedi is one of loneliness, they say, but you'll be the best of all of them, because you didn't grow up in their fancy temple. You weren't trained from birth to know you were the best. You came from Tatooine in the middle of nowhere, and you proved your worth. So I say go. The galaxy doesn't need a farm boy. It needs a Jedi. I don't know if I can be what they want me to be. I'm not some chosen one. I don't think there's such a thing anyway. There are thousands of prophecies, and they've never been true. Prophecies bring people hope. Maybe they saw something in you. It's too late now. The Order will never accept me back, even if I am their chosen one. They might, Owen says. Owen gets up and leaves his stepbrother to sit and ponder on his words. Anakin looks back at the old wooden box with his old worn Jedi robes and thinks for a beat or more. R2 stares at his master, buzzes and whines loudly. Anakin looks over at his droid and can't help but smile at him. Shut up, Anakin says jokingly. Lars homestead, Tatooine, evening. Anakin walks outside of the homestead, the evening sun starting to set. He makes his way over towards them to look out at the distant twin suns, a familiar image filled with warmth and soul. As the music begins to swell to life, it fills Anakin with a sense of longing. With his mind made up, he turns away from it, the sunset at his back, as the twin suns begin to sink beyond the horizon. Anakin walks over to the large tarp that covers his starfighter. R2 stands there by his side. He pulls the tarp off and looks at the ship in all its magnificence. I don't even know if it will still run. R2 beeps in reply to that. Anakin then looks down and pulls something out of his pocket. It's Obi-Wan's tracking beacon he gave him before he left. This is it. With one final glance at R2, Anakin Skywalker's mind is finally made up. He refused the call once, but not again, and now he must cross the threshold into a new adventure. Lars homestead, Tatooine, later. Anakin walks out, dressed in his Jedi robes. Owen and Beru watch him as he makes his way over to his starfighter with his faithful companion, R2. He places R2 in the slot made for droids on the starship itself and pats his friend's head. Anakin's starfighter, Tatooine. Anakin sits in his seat and flips the switch to turn on the ship. It runs perfectly as if it were new. This makes him smile. He then takes a glance at the old homestead and the two people he's leaving behind, Owen and Beru. Owen and Beru stand there watching Anakin as he prepares to take off. From his cockpit, Anakin looks over at Owen and gestures to him with the nod of his head. Finally, he lifts off from the ground and flies into the sky, saying goodbye to Tatooine, possibly forever. And just like that, he is gone. Owen and Beru watch as he leaves and his starfighter zooms away. Until next time, Skywalker, Owen smiles. I hope he'll be okay, Beru says. He will be, I know. Owen stands there with assurance, then turns around with his wife as they make their way back into the homestead as dusk settles on the sandy dunes. Tatooine orbits space. Anakin's starfighter zooms up through the sandy planet below, making its way to the space above. However, he soon stops it. Anakin's starfighter. Anakin takes his hand off the controls. He turns his head to look once more at the massive sand planet, his home and the place of his birth. R2 beeps quizzically. Yeah, I'm fine, buddy. Just wanted to get one last look at her, is all. He looks down at Obi-Wan's tracking beacon, puts his hands back on the controls, and zooms away into lightspeed. Debris field, space. Anakin exits lightspeed and ends up in a large debris field of metal scraps. Anakin tenses up as R2 beeps away loudly. He tries to make it through the debris field as scrap metal flies at the starfighter. I know, I'm trying. Debris field. Anakin banks to the left through the debris field and gets out of it as quickly as possible. Anakin comes to an abrupt and bumpy stop in the air. R2 goes haywire with the loud screech. That wasn't supposed to be there. Anakin looks around his dashboard, making sure everything is alright. R2 makes several desperate beeps, trying to get Anakin's attention. Big ship, where? Anakin looks up. Anakin's tiny starfighter sits in the shadow of the massive, mysterious-looking ship. Something tells me that's definitely not supposed to be there. Anakin messes around with a few switches on his ship as he looks out to the mysterious ship. That ship's not Republic for sure, but Anakin looks down at Obi-Wan's tracking beacon, which blinks rapidly. Obi-Wan's on that ship. What the hell did he get himself into now? R2 beeps in reply. No, I don't like it either, but I don't think we have much of a choice. R2 continues to beep in reply. What? No. Landing in that hangar is the worst thing we could do. They know we're here instantly. Just by the look of it, nobody on that ship is probably a friend to us. There's got to be a maintenance entrance somewhere. R2, can you try your best to scramble our ship's signal so they can't track us? R2 merely replies with a beep boop. Alright, let's do this. Well, Obi-Wan, I hope you haven't gotten yourself into too much trouble, he says to himself. Anakin flies for the underbelly of the ship in search of a way inside. Minutes later, Anakin surveys the area underneath the ship, looking for a small opening that his ship could fly into. There seems to be no luck, however. Anakin looks up at the underbelly of the mysterious ship. I'm not seeing anything, R2. R2 looks around and then spots something and begins to spin his domed head around, whizzing. You see something? Anakin looks in one direction and finds it, a small hatch large enough for his starfighter to enter through. R2, you did it! I hope this works out how we want it to. Anakin flies the ship up and through the hatch and finally out of sight entirely. Anakin flies through pipes and metal, searching for a place to safely land. Prison Cell 1, mysterious ship. Obi-Wan sits on a cold steel bed. He looks utterly defeated, being trapped inside the cell. Jar Jar, are you there? Obi-Wan raises his voice. Prison Cell 2, mysterious ship. Padme sits alone in her cell when she makes out the sound of Obi-Wan's voice. Jar Jar? Obi-Wan says again. Padme perks up and turns to the wall with a smile. Hello? Obi-Wan, is that you? Padme? Yes, it is you. Are you okay? Not at the moment. What are you doing here? Obi-Wan looks around his cell, making note of his surroundings. Well, I was trying to save you, but looks like I got myself captured instead. They said you were coming. I didn't believe it at first. Well, they got me. How did you know where to find me? I got a message from your ship. Jar Jar Binks sent out a distress call. I answered it. We were on our way to rescue you when we both got captured. Jar Jar? When we get out of here, remind me to thank that Gungan. Well, I don't think we're going to be getting out here anytime soon. Do you know what the Separatists want with you? I don't know. This ship came out of nowhere, and they commandeered our ship. Newt Gunray is a part of this. He's working with the Separatists. Now, I wish Anakin was here. Anakin's with you? Padme says, shocked. Well, not exactly. I went to him to get him to come back to the Jedi Order, but he refused. Damn it! I even gave him a tracking beacon so he could easily find me. Obi-Wan pulls the tracking beacon off his person and examines it with a quizzical look. Hold on a second. What is it? Obi-Wan looks at the beacon as it flashes rapidly. I still have the other beacon on me, and it's flashing. That could only mean... He's here, says Padme, surprised. Yes, Obi-Wan smiles. Hallway 3, mysterious ship. Anakin looks around a corner and watches as several Separatist soldiers march down the hall with blasters at their side. That's a lot of soldiers. Our best bet to finding Obi-Wan is finding a terminal somewhere close by. Maybe we can hack into the security feed. He pulls out a blaster off his person, ready to fight if he has to. This is the one moment where I wish I had my lightsaber. R2 beeps happily. This causes Anakin to turn and look at his friend. You what? R2 opens up part of his own domed head and reveals Anakin's lightsaber. Anakin takes the saber and grips it in his hand for the first time in 10 years and smiles. Remind me when we see Obi-Wan again to thank him. Anakin walks down the hall with R2 following right behind him. As he makes his way down the hall, more guards come from the direction he just walked from, but they completely miss him. Terminal, mysterious ship. Anakin and R2 make it to a ship terminal. Here we go, R2. R2 hooks himself up to the computer and tries to find Obi-Wan's location. R2 brings up the cameras on board the ship and finds one looking right at them. Shut down all the cameras in the corridors. We don't want them to know we're here, unless they already know. Just then, R2 flips through the prison cell camera feed and finds Obi-Wan trapped inside one. Looks like he found himself in trouble, yet again. Then Anakin notices that there are others in the cells. Finally, his eyes spot a familiar face. Padme. Padme? So that's why Obi-Wan came here. R2, can you map out the location of those cells? R2 beeps and does just that as Anakin looks around to make sure no one is around listening to them. R2 retrieves the information and beeps excitedly. It'll have to wait, buddy. We have to keep moving. He then makes his way down the hall with R2 following right after him. Prison Bay, mysterious ship. Anakin and R2 make their way in front of a large door. R2 beeps. Alright, let's get this over with. Anakin takes his lightsaber in hand and looks down at R2 and smiles before turning back to the door. Anakin opens the door and is met by prison guards. Anakin stands there smiling. Hi there. Can I help you? Says the jailer firmly. Yes, is this the prison bay? It is. Anakin smiles. Good. Anakin then takes the lightsaber and throws it at the guards, igniting it and using the Force to sling it around the room, cutting down all the guards before sending the lightsaber back to him. The jailer is the only one left standing. He sees all his men laying down dead and then goes for his blaster on his side. Anakin runs up to him and causes the jailer to fumble and drop his blaster. Anakin finds some cuffs on a desk and clamps them to the jailer. I'm very sorry about this, but I have to save my friends. Anakin leaves him as he and R2 go to find the rooms that Obi-Wan, Padme, and the others are in. Control room, mysterious ship. One of the various Neimoidians walks up to Newt Gunray and whispers in his ear. What? Why have we lost communication with the prison bay? Sir, all cameras are down on the ship as well. Someone has hacked into our mainframe. Well, fix it. Is there a problem, Viceroy? Asks the mysterious figure. Newt Gunray turns toward the mysterious figure sitting in his chair. No, my lord. We'll get to the bottom of things at once. It seems to me someone slipped in right under our nose. I knew I sensed another presence. There's more than one Jedi aboard this ship, says the mysterious figure. How? Never mind. I'll send more men to deal with them. Prison Cell 1. Mysterious ship. Obi-Wan is sitting down in his prison cell when suddenly the doors open to reveal Anakin. Do I have to rescue you every time you get yourself in trouble? Obi-Wan walks over to his friend with a smile on his face. I'm glad you decided to join us. Looks like my tracking beacon came in handy for you. Anakin reveals his beacon. I'm glad you're here, Obi-Wan says. We can talk later. Let's help the others. Prison Bay, mysterious ship. Eventually, everyone is rescued, including Padme, Panaka, Rick Olay, Jar Jar, the Gungan guards, and the handmaidens. Everyone gathers together. C-3PO walks over to R2. R2-D2, is that you, my old friend? R2 beeps happily. It is so good to see you after these long years, and Master Anakin as well. Oh my, this is a happy reunion. It sure is, 3PO. How have you been? Well, most excellent, sir. Working for Her Majesty has been very enlightening. It's good to see you, 3PO, Anakin interrupts. Anakin starts passing around weapons to each and every one when Padme comes up to Anakin slowly. She looks surprised to see Anakin face to face after so long. I hope one of those is for me, Padme says. Anakin smiles at her. Of course, my lady. Or is it your grace now? Just Padme. We're all friends here. They have a sweet moment between each other. Anakin realizes he hasn't given her the blaster yet. Here's the blaster you wanted. He finally hands it to her. It's good to see you again, says Anakin. Padme smiles. And you as well. Obi-Wan walks up to Anakin. Anakin, how were you able to get on the ship undetected? Oh, it was easy. R2 and I just found the maintenance entrance. Didn't you? Obi-Wan is flabbergasted and silent for a beat. Well, no, not really, but good job. Obi-Wan pats his friend on the shoulder. Don't forget this, Anakin says. Anakin hands Obi-Wan his lightsaber. Thanks. We need to get you guys back to your ship now. It won't take long before they realize what's happening. Do you know your way off this hunk of junk? Says Captain Panaka. R2 downloaded the ship's schematics. Just follow him. He knows the way. R2 moves ahead of everyone and the rest follow right behind him. Hallway 4, mysterious ship. Anakin and the rest of the group run down a long hallway inside the giant ship. Anakin stops as if he's forgetting which way to go. Lost your way? Asks Obi-Wan. R2, which way? R2 beeps. R2 says we need to turn down that hallway there, says 3PO. 3PO points in the direction and Anakin turns down the hall and everyone else follows right after him. Hallway 5, mysterious ship. The group makes their way down another hallway and to an intersection with 4 pathways open to them. That way should take you to the hangar bay. Anakin points. What about you? Obi-Wan asks. I have my own ride to catch. We'll rendezvous with you after all this is over, says Padme. You sure you can find your way back? Asks Captain Panaka. I think so. Anakin nods his head at Panaka. I'm afraid no one is going anywhere, says the mysterious figure off screen. Suddenly, all 4 pathways are filled with separatist soldiers holding them at blaster point. The Gungans and Padme hold up their weapons as well, ready to fire. Oh no, says 3PO. We've already taken care of Skywalker's ship. We'll destroy your vessel next, Your Grace, says the mysterious figure off-screen. A tall figure walks out of the crowd of soldiers, and the mysterious figure is revealed to be an elderly Dooku. Dooku? Obi-Wan says, shocked. Master Kenobi, Skywalker, Queen Amidala, I am very sorry for all this, really, says Dooku. I'm sure you are, says Anakin, annoyed. Now, let's be civil about all this. So, you've joined the Separatists as well, I take it, asks Obi-Wan. The men on this ship actually work for me, but yes. So you're the ringleader. Even better, says Anakin. Dooku ignores Anakin's comment. My friends, it would be wise to lay down your weapons, surrender, and your lives will be spared. Why did you kidnap me and my crew? Asks Padme. For safekeeping, but seems that everyone in the galaxy has tried to free you. Rid the Queen and her friends of their weapons and send them to the command deck. I'll deal with the Jedi, says Dooku to his soldiers. The guards take their weapons and, holding them at blaster point, they parade them down one of the halls. C-3PO is escorted and pushed. Hey, watch it! They are all taken away from the hall. You're making a big mistake. Something's off. I can't sense anything coming from him, says Obi-Wan to Anakin with confusion. I'm afraid I can't allow you to leave this ship, my friends, says Dooku. Dooku ignites a blue-colored lightsaber. Right after, Anakin and Obi-Wan both ignite their own and clash with his. If this is what you want, so be it, says Obi-Wan. Dooku moves down the hall and Anakin races after him. Just as Obi-Wan is about to walk out, Dooku slices the controls and the door closes, blocking Obi-Wan from the fight. Blasted, says Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan turns in another direction to make his way down another hall to get back into the fight. Hallway 6, mysterious ship. Anakin and Dooku face off against each other and make their way fighting down a long hallway. The fight is intense, flashy, and messy, causing havoc throughout the halls of the ship. Back hallway, mysterious ship. Obi-Wan attempts to get back into the fight by running through another hallway to meet up with Anakin and Dooku, but all the doors in the area seem to be closed. The fight continues as Obi-Wan looks for a way back into the fight. Hallway 7, mysterious ship. Padme and the others are being marched down the hallway by the group of soldiers with blasters at their backs. R2 is by Padme's side. R2, is there any way you can distract them? She whispers. No talking, says Separatist Soldier number 3. At that moment, R2 shocks C-3PO. He turns to R2. R2, what did you do that for? R2 starts beeping crazily. This causes the soldiers to look back in confusion. What's going on here? Says Separatist Soldier number 3. I can't be certain, sir. Perhaps a malfunction. He is a very old droid, says 3PO. Separatist Soldier number 3 makes his way up to R2 when Padme takes hold of an unsuspecting guard's blaster, as do the rest, and they soon get the upper hand, blasting their captors away. Padme walks up to R2. Now, which way was the way out? Padme asks. Hallways end, mysterious ship. Anakin and Dooku continue the fight and eventually end up clashing blades and holding to speak. Very good, Skywalker. 10 years on a backwater planet hasn't slowed you down much. What brought you back? I guess to deal with people like you, says Anakin. Anakin breaks free and they battle until they reach the end of a long hallway. Dooku manages to get the upper hand in this fight by getting Anakin to the floor. He points his lightsaber at him. I will say, you always were the best Jedi, a great swordsman, no doubt, but I will always be better. Just then, one of the sealed doors at the end of the hall bursts open and slams into Dooku, knocking him down on the ground. Obi-Wan emerges from the place where the door once stood. Well, glad to see I was able to get back into the fight, says Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan helps Anakin off the floor. They walk over to an unconscious Dooku. What do we do with him? What do you think? We take him to Coruscant for questioning. Hangar, mysterious ship. Padme and the others enter into the hangar and shoot their way through more soldiers. After dealing with them, they go to their ship to try to take off. Cockpit, Naboo Royal Starship. Rick-O-Lay, Padme, and Captain Panaka get into the cockpit to turn the ship on. Get the ship running, but we're not taking off without Anakin and Obi-Wan, says Padme. We don't even know where they are, Your Grace, Captain Panaka says. I'm not leaving without my rescuers, Captain. Hangar, mysterious ship. Obi-Wan and Anakin make their way into the hangar with Dooku and find their way to the Naboo Royal Starship before it takes off from the hangar. They enter and the ship takes off from the hangar and into space. Hallway, Naboo Royal Starship. Obi-Wan and Anakin, holding an unconscious Dooku, go up to one of the Gungans. Make sure you put this one somewhere safe, says Obi-Wan. The Gungan takes Dooku away and our heroes make their way to the cockpit. As they walk to the entrance of the cockpit, Padme walks out with Jar Jar and C-3PO. Thank you, both of you, for trying to save me. You as well, Jar Jar. You're much braver than you give yourself credit for. Jar Jar blushes at her words. I still wonder what Dooku's plan was for you, says Obi-Wan. Perhaps he'll tell us on the floor of the Senate. I've plotted a course for Coruscant. Shouldn't you return to Naboo, Your Grace? Asks Obi-Wan. Not now. Not with Dooku on board. He needs to be taken before the Senate. Maybe there we can learn more about what he actually wants. Well, We know one thing. He's working with the Separatists. That ship was large enough to hold an army, says Anakin. If he has betrayed the Republic, this is very worrisome. The Jedi Council will have to be informed as well. At that moment, R2 runs in past Jar Jar and beeps in. What did he say? Asks Padme. C-3PO and Anakin both look at Padme. He said, R2 says, they say at the same time. There's an awkward pause between C-3PO and Anakin. He says he has information he found on that ship that he thinks could be of some help to us, says 3PO. Queen's audience chamber, Naboo Royal Starship. Padme sits in her chair as Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Panaka and the others stand around. R2 plugs into the system, and the hologram of Dooku is revealed, explaining his grand plan. The Separatist army is almost complete as we speak. The Republic is threatened by war day by day, and soon it will be time to make our first strike. My master has foreseen everything and has planned accordingly. We will start by capturing the Queen of Naboo. The Republic will have no choice but to act. The war will spread like wildfire across the galaxy. So is my master's intent. We shall spare no expense in this grand war. The recording ends. This message is very incriminating, says Padme. We show this to the Senate and he's done for, says Captain Panaka. At least now we know for certain Dooku isn't working alone. This master of his is no doubt the leader of the Separatists. This will be very important evidence to show the Senate. Dooku was planning for war, and this message and that ship is all the proof I need. We need to stop this before that happens, says Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan starts to walk out the door. Where are you going? Asks Anakin. To speak with the traitor. Extra room, Naboo Royal Starship. Obi-Wan enters the room where Dooku is handcuffed. Come to apologize, have you? I must say, Obi-Wan interrupts Dooku. Stop it. You're nothing more than a traitor. Who is this new master you serve? Someone much wiser than any Jedi. My new friend is very powerful and knows what must be done for the betterment of the galaxy. By starting a war, by killing innocents? No one's wholly innocent. The Republic isn't what it should be, and so it needs to be reforged into what it can be, or destroyed entirely. We only seek to leave it, and if it cannot be done peacefully, then it will be done by force. So, where are we going? To Coruscant, where you'll stand trial before the Senate. Ah, excellent. It will be just like going home. I hope my fellow friends in the Jedi Order will be pleased to see me and know that one of their own is a Separatist. You almost seem happy to be going. Oh, I am. It will be a grand event, I'm sure. A trial that will be remembered for many years, as Obi-Wan Kenobi becomes a legend in the archives of the Jedi Order for being the one that stopped a war before it ever began. I can't believe I once considered you one of the greatest Jedi that ever lived. I'm afraid I was wrong. Do you have anything else to say? Dooku nods and says no more. Obi-Wan walks out of the room, leaving Dooku, who smiles wickedly once he leaves. Queen's quarters, Naboo Royal Starship. Padme is busy looking through her things as Anakin stands around watching her. Last time I saw you, you were just a handmaiden to another queen. Now look at you. You're very fit to be queen, says Anakin. Padme looks up at him. You flatter me, and if I recall, last time I saw you, you were a Jedi. I'm glad you returned to help. The Republic could use Anakin Skywalker. I just want to help any way I can. And by help, that means protecting me at all costs, like the Jedi in the stories? Well, if I can. This makes Padme smile. 10 years of absence hasn't stopped you from being as chivalrous as ever. I would hope not. They smile at each other. Anakin, Obi-Wan says off-screen. Anakin turns around to see Obi-Wan in the doorway. Anakin turns back to Padme and bows. Forgive me, Your Majesty. Anakin walks out to join Obi-Wan. Hallway. Anakin meets Obi-Wan and they walk the hall together. It seems you and Padme are starting to catch up. Of course, 10 years is a long time to be away from friends. Just be weary. Remember, you've decided to renew your Jedi oath. Padme's just a friend, nothing more. I just admire her a lot. Can't be too careful is all. You can't let your feelings get in the way of your duty. I understand, Obi-Wan. Anyway, once on Coruscant, we will inform the Jedi Council immediately of Dooku's betrayal. Where will they take him? Asks Anakin. The Senate will decide what to do with him. This is bad, Anakin. Jedi Knights don't simply turn against the Republic. Something is wrong here, and we need to know more. We need a full confession, says Anakin, and not just half answers, replies Obi-Wan. They continue to walk down the hallway. I think you'll find Coruscant has changed very little since your last visit, so there's very little you'll need to catch up on whilst you're there. There is one thing, however. What's that? Your friend Palpatine has become Chancellor of the Republic. Really? I shouldn't be surprised. He's a very wise man. No doubt you'll wish to see him while you're there as well, says Obi-Wan. Coruscant orbit, space. The Naboo Royal Starship exits out of hyperspace and is near the orbit of the large city planet of Coruscant. Many ships and freighters exit and enter the planet. Cockpit, Naboo Royal Starship. Anakin looks out the front of the ship and looks at the massive planet in front of him. I never thought I'd see this place again. Obi-Wan stands behind Rick Olay and leans down to speak with him. Land at the Senate building. The Chancellor will be awaiting our arrival. Landing platform, Coruscant, day. The Naboo Royal Starship lands on a platform with a massive building set in the background. As the ship lands, an older man dressed in fancy robes stands with his Chancellor guards. This is Chancellor Palpatine. Padme, her Gungan warriors, Jar Jar included, her handmaidens, Captain Panaka, C-3PO, R2-D2, Obi-Wan, and Anakin exit the ship. Palpatine meets with Padme, holding her hands delicately. I'm so glad to hear you're all right, Your Majesty. If I had known about your abduction, I would have sent a rescue party immediately, says Palpatine. You are too kind, Chancellor. I'm just thankful for my rescuers. If they hadn't come, things could have been much worse. Palpatine turns to Obi-Wan with a smile. Thank you, Master Kenobi, for the valiant rescue. I'm not the only one you should thank. Obi-Wan moves out of the way to reveal Anakin behind him. This is a shock to Palpatine, who smiles wide at the reveal and becomes quite jovial. Anakin Skywalker, you've returned to us. I told Master Kenobi you'd be needed here. You sent for me, asks Anakin. Of course. How long has it been? 10 years? An awful long time to be away from friends. Anakin bows. It's good to see you, Chancellor. Jar Jar butts through clumsily. And who is this? Asks Palpatine. Chancellor, this is Jar Jar Binks, one of my royal guardsmen. He's the one that sent out the message that Obi-Wan received. Looks like the Republic has several heroes to thank today. Now, where is Master Dooku? I'm afraid he's Master no longer, says Obi-Wan. At that moment, Rick Olay comes out with a bound Dooku. Dooku looks down at the Chancellor. Chancellor, I must say, this wasn't how I expected our next meeting to go, says Dooku. And may it be our last. Take the traitor to a holding cell. The Senate will decide his fate soon enough. The Chancellor's guards take hold of Dooku and drag him away. Palpatine returns to Padme. My dear, you must come with me. I want to know the whole story. Is it all right if R2 comes with us? Padme looks at Anakin. Sure. R2 beeps loudly and happily. He causes everyone to laugh. You may also join us if you wish, says Palpatine to Anakin. We should report to the Jedi Council. They'll need to know what's happened, says Obi-Wan. Of course. Perhaps you could join me later, Anakin. It's been too long and I'd like to catch up. Of course, says Anakin. Palpatine, the Queen, and her followers all walk down off the landing platform. Obi-Wan and Anakin are left alone as they make their way for the Jedi Temple. Jedi Temple, Coruscant, day. The ancient Jedi Temple is the oldest building in the entire area around it. An old structure made of marble amongst the clean look of the slick buildings of Coruscant. A ship drops down on the grounds of the temple and Obi-Wan and Anakin exit it. Anakin takes it all in, never thinking he would be here again. Obi-Wan walks ahead toward the entrance, turns around, and looks at Anakin admiring the temple. You'll have your time to reminisce later. We have a job to do. Anakin returns his gaze to Obi-Wan and walks into the temple with him. Council Chamber, Jedi Temple, day. Obi-Wan and Anakin stand in front of a massive door that is opened up by Jedi Temple guards. They soon enter a massive room with rows and rows of seats where Jedi Masters sit and watch our heroes. Anakin and Obi-Wan make their way towards the back of the room where two seats are, one empty and the other being occupied by a stoic Jedi, Mace Windu. Welcome, Master Kenobi and young Skywalker. I'm afraid word's already reached us of Master Dooku's betrayal. Is it true? Asks Mace Windu. I'm afraid so, Grandmaster. He's been working with the Separatists under a mysterious leader. Dooku only referred to him as the Master, says Obi-Wan. And where is he now? The Chancellor has detained him until he stands trial before the Senate for his crimes. Day by day, the galaxy finds a new way to tear itself apart. Do you think war will come, Obi-Wan? It looks that way, Master. Anakin steps up. Mace Windu notices this. Master Windu, the Jedi are keepers of the peace and should be willing to do their job as we did in the last war and all the wars before, says Anakin. I admire your strength of heart, Skywalker, but look around. Look at all of us who are left. Anakin sees that the hall is half empty with half of the Jedi Masters missing. You were there. You saw the devastation the last war brought to our order. Another war could destroy us entirely. The Jedi Knights have been the guardians of peace and justice for over 1,000 generations. A Jedi's duty is to protect the galaxy, says Anakin. But a Jedi's path is not in war, but peace. If peace remains, we have done our duty. Mace Windu turns back to Obi-Wan. Now, back to this matter with Dooku. I don't like this at all. Dooku's betrayal will make the Jedi look weak. If one can turn against the Republic, why not others? That's not how I want us to be remembered. None of us want that, says Obi-Wan. Dooku represented the very best of us. If he truly has betrayed the Jedi, his seat on the council is forever lost. Mace Windu and everyone look over at the empty seat beside him. His seat will have to be replaced, says Ki-Adi-Mundi. Perhaps Master Yoda, Adi Gallia says. But no one's heard from Master Yoda in years, Eve Koth says. We'll find someone to take it soon, but not now. We must do our part. If we attend Dooku's trial, perhaps it will show the Republic that Dooku is just one man, and the Jedi stand unified. Thank you, both of you, for bringing this information to light. You may have, in fact, saved the entire galaxy in the process. There's one more thing, Master, says Anakin. Yes? Asked Mace Windu. When I left the Order, I was distraught and not ready to accept my failings. I know it goes against the code, but you said it yourself. We lost many Jedi 10 years ago, and from what it looks like, we still haven't recovered. You need Jedi, and I want to pledge my service to the Jedi once again, if you'll permit it. I'm afraid I can't do that, Skywalker. The code forbids it. Anakin looks disappointed. But you can still join us in helping bring peace to the galaxy. I came all this way hoping you'd take me back. I knew you wouldn't, but I had some sliver of hope. I'm sorry, but it's the Jedi way, says Mace Windu. Oh, I know. I understand. I hoped that things might be different. Anakin turns around. Obi-Wan grabs his friend by the arm and stares at him, but Anakin only shrugs him off and leaves. Master Windu, please reconsider. We need people like him if it's going to come to war, says Obi-Wan. It's out of my hands. The code must be followed. Obi-Wan turns around to look at the exit as if he's ready to run after Anakin. Jedi Temple, Coruscant, day. Obi-Wan runs after Anakin, who rushes down the stairs in front of the temple. Anakin! Anakin, hold up! Anakin stops as his friend catches up. I should have known this would happen. I shouldn't have come here. If you hadn't gotten into your starfighter, me, the Queen, and everyone else on that ship would have died. We need you, says Obi-Wan. But it won't be as a Jedi. Then help us as a man. Obi-Wan waits for Anakin to answer back to that. However, Anakin unclips his lightsaber from his belt and gives it to Obi-Wan. Take it. I have no use for it anymore. Anakin turns around and starts to walk away before turning around. Well, it was fun while it lasted, says Anakin. He leaves the Jedi Temple and Obi-Wan just watches in silence as he grips Anakin's lightsaber in his hand. Audience chamber, Chancellor's Palace, day. Palpatine walks around the large open room with Padme at his side as she holds his arm. R2 watches from near the door. With everything you've told me, my dear, your eyewitness account, the message from Anakin's droid, I think the Senate will have no choice but to find Dooku guilty of treason. Strange that he slipped up like this, but I guess even the wisest of men make mistakes, says Palpatine, which you failed to make. I might be old, but I sometimes feel I'm far from wise. I just hate that it may come to war, says Padme. As do I, but maybe we can at least prolong it with this one act. I should have known it would come to this eventually. This separatist movement is strong indeed. So many star systems have already left the Republic. How will we be able to fight against the armies of the separatists? We lost so many in the Clone War. I fear this one will cost us even more. I have a plan set in place should things become dire. Anakin enters the audience chamber. R2 looks up at Anakin and beeps happily. But more on that later, says Palpatine. Palpatine looks up at Anakin, who walks over to him and Padme. So arrives the Queen's protector. Just doing my duty and helping a friend. You wanted to speak with me? Anakin says to Palpatine. Yes, my boy. Palpatine looks down at Padme with a sweet smile. We will have to speak again before the trial. I want you by my side when they give a sentence. As much as I am a lover of justice, I'm afraid I can't. My place right now is with my people. They need me, says Padme. My queen, we'll need your testimony. I've already testified. Padme hands him a device. She turns it on and the recording starts up with an image of her. I am Queen Padme Amidala of Naboo, and on my recent homeward journey I was attacked by... She stops the recording and hands it to Palpatine. The Senate will understand my absence. All right, says Palpatine. Palpatine kisses her hands. Padme starts to exit and looks over at Anakin. Farewell, Your Grace. Anakin blushes. Padme smiles and leaves. It's good to see you again, Chancellor. Sorry. It's all right. I'll always be a senator at heart. I'm sure there's some part of you that will always be that farm boy from Tatooine. Perhaps, but I won't miss the sand. So, how is it returning to the Order after 10 years? Anakin sighs. About that, Master Windu rejected me. And he's right. It's against the Jedi Code for anyone who's left the Order to return. Oh, that does sting. I feel for you, Anakin, I do. You are the very best of them, you know. The Council doesn't know what they're doing. Maybe it's for the best, says Anakin. Now, I know you don't think that. You clearly wanted it badly enough to return to us. The Council will see your worth soon enough. I have no doubt of that, and they'll accept you back into their fold. You would think if I was their chosen one, I'd receive some special privileges. Ah, yes, I do seem to remember that. Your mother bore you into the world by herself. One would call that a miracle. I don't know anymore. It's just another prophecy in a long line of others, and besides, I stopped believing in that kind of stuff a long time ago. Tell me, do you still dream of your mother? No, not for a long time, no. Now my dreams are plagued with my fallen apprentice. I remember, a tragedy, really, and 10 years has done nothing to take away the pain. It's why I left in the first place. It will be all right, Anakin. Don't dwell on your loved ones' deaths, but remember their life. Anakin chuckles. Now you sound like a Jedi. If only, says Palpatine. Palpatine walks over to the podium and turns on a holomap of the entire galaxy with hundreds of planets lit up in either blue or red. Each day we grow closer and closer to all-out war. Anakin looks out at the amount of blue planets versus red planets and sees that they are almost equal. Everyone's been saying it was getting bad, but now I see the galaxy is worse off than I ever imagined, says Anakin. You've been gone a long time. The galaxy has changed much in your absence. Palpatine looks at Anakin with a serious look. I need your help, son. Even if you're not a Jedi now, help us defeat the Separatists and restore order to the Republic. I will, says Anakin. I admire your spirit, but I know you'll fight, because you have someone to fight for. Anakin is left a little confused. I noticed how you blushed at the Queen when she left. It's only admiration for her, Anakin says. That's not what I saw. You love her. Maybe once, but that was years ago. We're different people now. No, you still love her, even now. There's a pause between the two. If you love her, go after her. I would say it's against the Jedi ways, but you're not a Jedi anymore, are you? Landing platform, Coruscant, evening. Padme and her followers make their way to the Naboo starship to leave the planet. Anakin chases them down with R2 following close behind. Padme! She turns around as he comes up to her. She is very surprised to see him. Most of her guards and handmaidens have already entered the ship. If you're going back to Naboo, I want to go with you. I thought you were going to be a Jedi, asks Padme. Anakin looks down. I was rejected by the Council, but it's alright. I can still do my part by protecting the one person I care about most. Padme blushes. I'm quite aware of your affection for me, Anakin. I've always known that. I loved you long ago, but my creed stopped me from acting, says Anakin. Anakin gets on his knees. If you don't feel the same, I'll understand. At least let me serve you as your champion. Padme smiles and chuckles at the remark. Come on, R2 can come as well. Anakin looks at R2 and they all three board the ship. Balcony, Jedi Temple, evening. Obi-Wan and Mace Windu sit out on the balcony of the temple looking out at the cityscape of Coruscant as the evening sets in with an orange glow. Are you certain there's no other way for Anakin to rejoin? Asks Obi-Wan. I'm afraid not. I didn't write the code, I just follow it. Besides, if we started letting everyone who ever left the Order rejoin, we might as well let Dooku atone for his actions and bring him back. I don't think that's the same thing. Anakin is no Dooku. He's a great warrior and Jedi. He was a great Jedi, but not anymore. Mace Windu looks out to the horizon. There was a time when I thought your old apprentice might really be the prophesied chosen one and bring balance to the Force, but I think that's unlikely now. I don't believe the real chosen one would let their emotions get the better of them and leave the Order. He lost his own apprentice and blames himself for it. No one should have to go through what he did. Anakin's stronger than you give him credit for, says Obi-Wan. The Jedi Order has a role to play. We have a duty and a code, and if we don't abide by it, then we might as well be spitting in the face of all the Jedi that came before. Jedi or not, he is the chosen one, and he will bring balance, whatever that means. The chosen one shall come, born of no father, and through him will ultimate balance in the Force be restored, Mace Windu recites. You may be right, Obi-Wan, but my answer is still no. Have you been to see Dooku? Asks Obi-Wan. No, I don't see the benefit in it. I think it's clear he's a traitor. We just have to wait for the Senate to decide his fate, but I'll be there to witness the trial and ensure the reputation of the Jedi is maintained. There's something that still bothers me. Dooku is a smart man. It just doesn't make much sense for him to just turn. What are you saying? Asks Mace Windu. I don't want to make assumptions, but Dooku told me this new master he serves is very powerful and wiser than any Jedi. Are you insinuating that Dooku has joined the dark side and this master of his is... Yes, a Sith Lord, Obi-Wan interrupts. The Sith and their religion have been extinct for a millennia. The Sith are nothing more than a distant memory. I'm not so sure. I can sense the dark side's presence growing, a shroud covering everything. The dark side will always remain, until balance is established. I hope so. Naboo orbits space. The Naboo Royal Starship exits out of hyperspace and moves down to the lush green planet below. Theed Skyline, Naboo. The Naboo Royal Starship flies through the sky above the capital city of Theed with its high ancient walls and large plazas and buildings. The ancient royal palace sits in the center, a massive structure looking over all. The starship flies down toward the palace and it makes for a smooth landing inside the Theed hangar.